Hello everyone, welcome to the show, The Focus Line. In today's Focus Line, we are going to discuss the many articles which are important from the men's perspective and from the perspective of GS2 as well as GS3. So today I have brought articles like first is about in GS2 we are going to discuss the about the building bridges. It's about the Manipur issue and it came in context of the Prime Minister's Saturday's visit to the Manipur. Second article is about the pendency of cases in Supreme Court and how it is impacting the justice delivery. Third is about the banning on online gaming. We are going to discuss what are the pros, cons associated with this and what are the major challenges. The constitutional challenges are there, legal challenges are there. So we are going to discuss this also. Then we are going to discuss about the PLI scheme because in 2025 means this particular one question came in GS2 from the PLI schemes. Okay, so we are going to discuss that also. Then last article, it is also from perspective of GS2 in international relations. We are going to discuss about this Scarborough Schoal and what is China planning there. So these are articles we are going to discuss today. So first article is about the Manipur issue. It's about the building bridges. So context is the Prime Minister's visit to the Manipur. Okay, so this was the his first visit when the violence breakout, after the violence breakout. So what are the issues that we need to keep in mind before discussing the Manipur issue? First is when it started, the violence is started with the Manipur High Court direction to the state government to give the scheduled tribe status to the dominant Meitei community in Manipur. So all started from here. Then the next issue involves about the land, customary rights and access to resources. Because if we see the when it comes to the land and customary rights, the 80% part of the Manipur, which is hilly area, and this hilly area, the Kuki and Zo community, which are the demographically minority, they constitute only 20% of the population of Manipur, but they occupy the 80% of the land. And when it comes to the access of resources, the dominant Meitei community that lives in the Impal Valley, so these are the dominant when it comes to access of resources because of their political influence as well as the demographic majority. So they influence the government in effective way to access the resources. So this is the one issue. Second is the religious and ethnic dimension. So when it comes to the Manipur issue, the two communities come in conflict, that is Meitei and the Kuki-Zo. So when it comes to the Meitei community, it is the Hindu, and the Kuki-Zo, they are the primarily Christianity. So when this ethnic conflict gets this religious blanket. So this is the when the ethnic and religious dimension involved, when there is conflict between these two tribes. Then displacement and the trauma, because since the violence breakdown in May 2023, from that time nearly 60,000 people they displace. So the trauma caused after displacement and also the denial of their right, that is the tremendous. So this is one issue. Then second is the governance and law enforcement bias allegations, because you all are aware about there was a one drive conducted in the Manipur in lieu of they wanted to eradicate the drug plantation in Manipur, but primarily it targeted the Kuki-Zo community. That was an allegation. And also when it comes to the other forces, security forces, okay, the police forces, they are the favoring towards the Meitei community. So this is a one allegation has been done. Next is when it comes to political representation, there are the certain seats which are given to the hilly districts of Manipur, and the hilly district the Kuki and Zo community dominant, but politically the Meitei community is dominant. The chief minister or other the dominant post, they belongs to the Meitei community. So when it comes to political representation and voices, the voice of this Kuki and Zo community, it is undermined. So these are the major issues involved when it comes to the Manipur issues. Next, what is it is the argument is done in editorial. It is talking about the what are the steps taken and whether the steps are adequate or not. So first it talks about the visit. Visit is mere symbolic, because the visit is not going to stop the violence or not going to solve, but it is symbolic. But when it comes to substance, what you need to take, they need to attempt to bridge the actual gap. So how this gaps, the divides will be bridged? So it will be bridged through the communication. So the communication, this is the major issue when it comes to this violence. From first day of violence, the communication gap is there. So this is the one issue lies. Second is there need to be development project and social justice. So two things are in conflict because Prime Minister has launched around the 2000 crore ka projects. But when it comes to the launching the project, we have seen that there is the divide when it comes to the access to resources. Okay, the infrastructure project what the government is going to develop, majority it will be beneficial for the dominant community. So what, in this context, what it need to be the focus, that is social justice. So this is the one argument this particular author is doing. Second is the about the divide and inclusiveness. Because divide, if you see, divide is not only demographic, divide is social, economical, political. All aspects are included in this divide. When it comes to the inclusiveness, there is need to steps taken for the need to take for the inclusion of the minority community into the other aspect, the social, political, economical. So this inclusivity need to keep in mind. Next is the trust, accountability in governance, because the trust deficit is the huge there because of the lack of the political representation and communication. So to bridge this trust deficit, what needs to be done? The governance need to be inclusive, as well as they need to fix the accountability. Then this trust deficit will be reduced. So these are the argument done by this particular article. And also there are way forward suggested, that is need of sincere approach to dialogue and listening. So it's not about symbolic visit. There is need to establish the proper channel for dialogue. There is need of neutral mediator. So this is one argument. Second is the restoration of infrastructure plus equitable development. So infrastructure restoration is not enough. So whatever the infrastructure they will establish or re-establish, it should be equitably distributed among all the communities. Next is there is need of transparent delivery of promises. So there is the trust deficit because of the political biasness, allegedly political biasness. So to bridge this, whatever the promises has been done, the secure rights to the Kukizo communities, so there needed to be transparency in that. Then next is the strengthening local institutions, because there is long-standing demand of the right to self-determination for the hilly regions. So that need to be heard. So the if you Kukizo community or other hilly community gets the self-government rights, okay, they get the self-governments, then there will be it will give them right to govern themselves and the right to manage their resources. So through this steps, there can be the Manipur issue can be, or the violence can be reduced effectively. So this is all about this particular issue. Next is about the pendency continues to plug. Supreme Court as a cases backlog hits all-time high. So there is the one data given in this particular article which talks about the pendency of cases in Supreme Court. Come to Supreme Court, currently cases pending, it is about the 88,000. Okay, and these cases grew steadily from the May 2025. So that time in May it was the below 85,000. So in 3 months only it is gone. 3,000 more cases came to Supreme Court, and these all cases are still pending. Okay, so this is the one data. And when it comes to the overall data, overall the pending cases, so if you see from the subordinate court, High Court and Supreme Court, nearly 87% of cases, these are pending in subordinate court. And out of remaining, the 12% are pending in remaining 12% pending in High Court, and all remaining cases that pending in the Supreme Court. So where is the major backlog lies? The subordinate courts. And it is also linked to the backlogs in Supreme Court, because there would be many cases in Supreme Court which will set the precedent, or it will give the judgment. So based on this judgment, these cases in this subordinate court will be decided. So directly the cases pending in these two verticals, Supreme Court and High Court, these are impacting the cases in subordinate courts. So there is the dependency culture when it comes to the cases pendency also. So next we will see what are the causes that contributing to this pendency. First is about the receiving more cases than the disposing. Okay, so this is the one more, because you have seen just in Supreme Court previously 85,000 cases already pending. Now it has gone to the 88,000. So there is no effective reduction. Okay, the whatever cases are coming, they are increasing. So this is the one issue. Second is reduced working days and partial working conditions, because if you see the government offices, they works for 320, around 332 to 240 days in a per year. But when it comes to Supreme Court, it is the below 200. It is around the 142 something, not 200. It's below 150, so around the 140. So this is the effective working days in Supreme Court. Next is the larger cases being referred to the constitutional benches. So what will happen? It will happen going to constitutional benches. Then again the constitutional bench will go through the case. So again the hearing will happen. So again ultimately to what will lead? It will accumulation of the cases. Next is the litigation to restore the cases. Because if you see the some subordinate court gives some judgment, then it will be challenged in a high court. High court gives judgment, then it will be challenged in the Supreme Court. Also, if the Supreme Court one bench gives judgment, it will be again challenged and it will be referred to the larger bench. So the litigation is given to the restore the litigates. Okay, so this is the one more case. Also the vacancy. Now the Supreme Court working in full strength, but if we see the previously 5-6 months, there were the 4-5 vacancies. So that was the one major issue. And when it comes to subordinate courts or high court, there is a huge vacancy. So this is the one more reason why the cases are pending in all types of courts. Also the litigation, if you see, there was data given in the Ministry of Law and Justice, nearly 45 cases in Supreme Court. It is versus the states or union government. So nearly in 45 cases, the union government or state government is litigant. So that is the one major case. So if Supreme Court or the state government or union government work in coordinated manner, so that will be there will be reduction in cases. So it's not only we can blame the Supreme Courts. There is responsibility lies on government also. Next, what implication will happen because of this high pendency? First is justice delayed. So justice delayed because we know the justice delayed is justice denied. So that is one case. Also we have seen that there are the major cases where the innocents they still lives in court. So recently there was a case in 2006 Mumbai blast. Okay, so there was one person who found to be innocent. Okay, but he spent nearly 9 years in the jail, and ultimately the Supreme Court or High Court, Bombay High Court, it has given the 9 crore compensation for the 9 years, but it is not enough because he has spent 9 years in this hell. So that is the one case here. So justice delayed. Second is the backlog effect, because the cases are pending. Just we have discussed. So there would be other courts will be waiting for some judgment or the judicial precedent. So that time this backlog will be this create the some effect. So it will create the ripple effect on the other cases. So that is one implication. Second is the wider burden. Okay, so it will not only burden the judges, it will burden on the infrastructure, it will burden the administration. So all the aspects of governance will be hampered because of the pendency of cases. Next is it will reduce the credibility and public confidence in the court, because ultimately we see court as a where whatever our concerns are there, that way can be reduced or that can be overcome. But if the cases are pending, so the ultimately credibility and our confidence on the court, it will get reduced. So this is the one issue. Next is the what can be way forward here. First, what could the court can be done? What court can do? It can utilize technology. So it can utilize the IoT, big data, AI. So what they will do? They can do the virtual hearing, better listing of the cases, case tracking, better docket management. So these all things done be through the technology. They can prioritize case. They can dispose the cases on priority basis. Okay, they can reject the cases which don't have the merit. So this can be done through the technology. Second is need to increase the disposal capacity. So there are need more benches, the more working days, and efficient scheduling. So there should not be backlog effect. Next, there is need to be case management reforms. So there need to be prioritization, proper prioritization, triaging minor. There need to be segregation minor and major cases. Next, dismissal, cleansing, the unmeritorious or defective petition, and this all can be done through the technology. So this is the again one important fact. Next, there need to strengthening the strength of judges. How it can be done? It need to be fill vacancies. Whatever the vacancies are there, it need to fill immediately. Then appoint more judges if needed, because 85,000 cases are there. If they want to dispose, it will take the nearly 10-15 years. So better than waiting, they can appoint the more judges to Supreme Court. The strength of Supreme Court can be increased. Next, the need of alternative dispute resolution. How for the suitable matters, mediation, arbitrations. Okay, so some cases where involve the technical case can be determined on technical criteria. So so this alternative dispute resolution, the method can be implemented. Next, there need limiting frivolous or the repetitive matters. Okay, they need strict screening. The only cases with substantial legal question can be admitted, not the all cases which come for the real litigations that should not be entertained. Only where the merit is involved, that should be only entertained. So this is all about this particular article. Next, we will move towards this article where it talking about the cutting up online gaming with the seizure of prohibition. So you all are aware about the government came with one law, that is the promotion regulation of the online gaming bill or online gaming act in last month only. So the main purpose was the ban online money games. Okay, the game paid for the real money. So while it is also encouraging the e-sports, social games, educational or recreational games, but it is only banning this games where the money involves. Then what is banned? It is banned like the involving monetary stakes. So kind of betting, gambling, real money games. Okay. So these also include the previously considered game of skill. So there is one catch here: the game of skill versus game of chance. Game of skill or game of chance, the differentiate in when game of chance, the game the win or the lose, it is determined by the sheer luck, not any skill. So that consider game of chance. And when it comes to game of skill, where you need certain set of skill to win the game, so that consider under the game of skill. Okay, so such games which considered previously game of skill, but it involved the monetary exchange, so that banned now. Also, the advertising of such games also banned, which involve the monetary stakes. So but it is allowed some e-sports, social educational games. Okay, but without the financial stakes. So this is the one more catch here. Next, we'll move towards the seeing the what is the government rationale, government justification, or the pros of this particular bill. It is aimed to protecting the youth, middle class families from the addiction and the financial loss. So there is data where the middle class families, they lost nearly 20,000 crore, accumulated 20,000 crore by the middle class families. So this is the chance of this financial loss, huge financial loss to middle class family. Second is about the preventing money laundering, fraud, and cyber crimes. Because this all the money trap, we don't know what happens actually in reality. We think might someone is winning or losing, but actually there would be money laundering cases. So the money can be transferred to one person to another person. So this is the one issue. Next, it is protecting the youth and consumers. How it helps prevent the addiction, the over expenditure, financial distress that caused by the real money games. Because ultimately, if you see the youth unemployment, many of the people are taking the loans, the credit to invest in these particular apps. Ultimately, if they are losing, then it is going to be worsen their financial condition, and also it will directly lead to mental trauma. Also, they need to addressing fraud, illicit activity, taking the step to reduce money laundering, illegal betting platform, fraudulent gaming sites. Okay, so if you are heard about the in 2 days back only, there was an article in the Hindu where it said that some professor in Kolkata, he invested in some gaming app because it is a deep fake video game where the Mukesh Ambani was the promoting that particular game. Okay, the use of the AI to create the fraudulent gaming apps. So that is the one major concern. So it is convincing the educated people also to invest. So that is the one issue involved. Next is here about the moral and public welfare response. So the government responding to the societal concern because of the gambling. What is happening? It is directly, it is leading to loss of saving, and loss of saving where it is causing the mental illness. So that is the one social issue involved here. Next is regulating rapidly growing digital sector. Okay, because bill is gives the clarity on what is allowed and what is not, so which helps to set the rules for the games also, and it will give the clear picture for the gaming industry. Next, it is also encourage the e-sport, other social educational gaming, okay, which foster the skill development. So there is a win-win situation. Only it is they are banning where the actual monetary exchange involves. So this is one more aspect here. Next, there are some criticism of bill because it's the blanket ban on ignoring the skill and chance distinction. Just to have discussed, the game of skill is where the you need certain set of skill, and game of chances you just need a luck. On the luck you can either win or lose, so it is called game of chance. So there is no such a distinction done in this particular bill. Next is it is impacting on the job, the startup, and the gaming industry, because if you see the gaming industry, it is considered one as the sunrise sector, and the this kind of ban, like sudden regulation, it will cause the disruption in industry. So that is one concern, and disruption in industry directly linked to the jobs and the many startups which are coming in gaming industry. Next is a risk of illegal offshore platform, because if there is ban, but certain it is seen as the easiest way to earn money, so the platforms will come illegally and the people will invest illegally. So by user they will use the kind of thing called VPN. So this is the one risk involved here. Next is about there is constitutional and federal concern, because of the when it comes to regulation of gambling, it comes under the state list, and the who brought this particular bill by the Indian government. So there is the constitutional and the federal concern involved. Next is there is implementation oversight challenges, because if you see the who will implement or who will oversight, because already there is constitutional challenge, because it is belongs to state subject. So there is no clear any clear instruction or the provision to implement and oversight the mechanism is not established. So this is one concern. So what can be way forward? The way forward, like it consider regulated licensing. So there is need of regulated licensing regime for the real money game, because if there is blanket ban on the all the games, what will it will directly flourish the black economy, okay, the illegal money. But there is need to be, we can bring the regulated license regime, so we can control also, we can formalize this particular aspect, and we can reduce the chance of becoming the black economy. So this is the one issue. Okay, second is about the parental and the user educations. Okay, so there need to be mental health interventions. So the parents, there is need of parent consent when the some child from the particular age group is registering on this particular app. So these kind of the checks and balance can be introduced, and also there is need of mental health intervention. So the social issues that might arise after this mental health, that can be reduced. Next is about the it need to distinguish between game of skill and game of chance in the law itself. So it will again, the gaming industry will get the clear picture. Next, it need to ensure the stakeholder consultation. How? Which stakeholder? The industry, the civil society, experts in gambling addiction, and the state government. So there need to be take these all stakeholders in confidence, because before the bringing this bill or before the implementing this particular bill, there can be amendments done to by consulting these stakeholders. So this is about this article. We'll move toward the next article, which is about the center reopens PLI scheme for the white goods. Okay, what are the white goods? White goods are the mostly, these are the electronic, home appliances. So what can comes here? AC, refrigerator, okay, dishwasher, So this kind of electronic home appliances comes under the white goods. So what is the particular article? Because we'll see the what is the PLI scheme. The PLI scheme, it is approved by Union Cabinet in April 2021, and the operational period that decided in from financial year 21-22 to 28-29. So this is the sunset scheme because there is a clear deadline for this particular scheme. And what is offered? It is offered some incentive which are range between the 4 to 6% of the financial incentive on the net incremental sale. Okay, not the wholesale, but it is depends on net incremental sale. And that there is a base year. So two base year are there, 2019 to financial year 2021. So depends on the industry, the base can be changed. Base year can be changed, and it for the product manufactured. So it is the manufacturing manufacturing incentive scheme. It is gives the this incentive for the manufacture, and this manufacture happened in only India. Okay, and there are the certain sectors, subsectors included for them. This for this sector can get the benefit under this scheme. So what are the objectives that government has set before the implementing scheme? It wants to boost the manufacturing capacity, because if you see the manufacturing capacity is the if you see the contribution to overall GVA, it is around the 25% GVA. So it is not increasing if you consider the proportion to the service sector. So that government want to boost. Also it wants to stabilize around the 25%. Next is to attract the investments. Okay, and to develop the robust component ecosystem. Attract investment because it will give the stability in forex, also as well as it will boost the our big ticket initiative like developed country, made in India initiative, make in India initiative. So this one also it will reduce the import dependency. Okay, so due to import there will be, if we are manufacturing domestically, then there will be resilient supply chain, will reduce the domestic our import dependency. Ultimately it will give immunity, our immunity from the global disruption. So this is the one also. And there also it will improve the domestic value additions. Okay, so currently it is around the 14-20%, so aim to the 75 to 80%. Okay, so these are the objective. And why the government is now reopened the application for this white gold? Because of the first is the GST reforms. Because if you see the GST reforms done, that on the electronic good the GST it is brought around the 80%. So there is the chance that it will boost the demand, and if boosting demand, then we need what we need production. So from that considering perspective, this this particular the application reopened is the crucial. Okay, second is about the consumption, particularly domestic plus manufacturing. Because if you see the currently the where the equipments are come, mostly the German technology, German made only. So if you want to boost the domestic capacity, then we need to give the more opportunity to domestic producer. And also we need to for the make in India developed country, Atmanirbhar Bharat, for that we need to boost the domestic consumption through which consumption of the domestically produced goods. So from considering this two aspect, this this particular application deadline is increased. Okay, like or extended. So this is about this particular article. Next we are going to see the Scarborough Shoal and what is China doing. So if we aware about the, this is the South China Sea, and this particularly China is claims on the South China Sea based on this 9 dash line. Okay, it violates the maritime sovereignty of the many countries. Now they have updated to 12 dash line. Okay, but it is rejected by the many country. And why it is China is wants to acquire this whole ocean? Because of this particular shoals are there. The Scarborough Shoal is there, Parcel Islands are there, and Sparsley Island. So these are the mostly fish rich regions. And China being the one of the first largest exporter of the this marine fish products. So from that perspective, to boost their economy, this particular aspect is very important. That's why they want to acquire this all the shawls, and also as well as the other countries are claiming because of this. So from the historical perspective, if we see the pre-20th century till the mid-century, the Scarborough Island shows on the historical European and the Philippines charts. So the historically it is claimed by the Philippines, but in April 2012, what happened? There was the standoff between the Philippines and the China on the fishing vessel. So that time the Philippines lost control on the this particular Scarborough Island. Okay, and from there it is in 2013 16 13 it is Philippines initiated arbitration in the UN clause, okay, to decide on the this particular issue. And in September 25, the China State Council, it is approved creation of Huangyan, the island national reserve, nature reserve. This Scarborough Island, what we are calling, the China calls it Huangyan. So it is created their national natural reserve, but dispute is not settled yet. So this is the one issue involved here. Next is here, what are the China's claims and what they are doing actually. So there is the legal and political claim, because the historical China claims it is shown in the Chinese map. So from that perspective, they are claiming this through this their 9-dash line. And also the UPSC from on water administrative steps, what they have done, they have established this one Huangyan, the island national reserve in this particular region. So from that the administrative basis they are claiming on this particular land. Then again there are tactic and strategies used. There is pattern of gray zone and the law fair tactics. What it constitute gray zone or law fair tactics? It is constitute the administrative legal force. This used to the enforce their rights or enforce their claims on certain region instead of military escalations. So when the military court or military rather than going for military escalation, when the particular country use the administrative legal force to claim on the certain area, so it is called gray zone or the lawfare tactics. So this is currently China is doing. So now what can be the implication on this particular issue? Just when it comes to strategic, this control affects the maritime surveillance and the sea lane of observation, because if you see nearly China is claiming the whole South China Sea and surrounding the many countries are there. So it will impact their maritime surveillance and sea lane of observations, because it will impact the sea lane of reservation or freedom of navigation, because the whole South China Sea will come under the control of the China. So this is the one strategic issue involved. Second is the geopolitical. Because of this particular issue, what is happening? There is the division between the US support also and the Chinese support. So when it comes to the Philippines, okay, so other Taiwan is there. Taiwan is also claiming, and China. So these are the major regions which supported by the USA, and there is a China. So there is a new dimension opening for the Chinese and US conflict. Second is also it is impacting the India. How it will impact the India? Because this particular region where the India has nearly 50% trade goes. So from that perspective, it is very for the very important from the India. So it is again it is creating the new ground for the geopolitical conflict, as well as is impacting the India. And also there are chances that US might force India to align with it. And also we are obliged to the one China policy. So there will be again the threat to our strategic autonomy. Next is economic and livelihood issues. How? Because of the Philippines fishermen, okay, they might lose the economic livelihood with the China assert their control on this Scarborough Island. Also there are the environmental concerns. See, there is a second region apart from the rich fish ground. The second region is it is rich of crude oil and other natural gases. So if the China claims control, they are less concerned for the environmental issue. So they will start extract the crude oil and the gases from there. So it will create the environmental concern, because also the nearby this particular South China Sea or this region, the largest coral reef lies. So it will going to directly treat to the coral reef and other marine ecosystem, because of the and this will create the environmental concern. Okay, so this is all I wanted to discuss today. So we have discussed the 5 articles mostly from the men's perspective. Last 2 articles I have given some overview. So next time when this article comes again in the news, that time we are going to discuss it in detailed way. So thank you very much for today.